Time to head off on one of the biggest trips I have ever done. But oh no, immediately I am hit with an incident. The bus on my first leg of this epic journey has broken down. It wouldn't have been so bad, however it's 4:10 in the morning, so I hope it's not too long until another bus arrives. I feel sorry for those having to work under the bus at this hour of the day. Oh well, it adds some interest and a sight you don't normally see early on a Monday morning. Now, am I going to be stuck here for a long time? Phew, thankfully not. Here comes another 390 to Archway, heading north. Safely on board, and so, my big journey is about to begin. The plan is to travel all the way from here in London to Catania, Sicily, with no flying at all. Will I make it? Well, we shall see. There is way too much for one video, so I'll be splitting this trip into 6 or 7 videos, depending on how many things I find of interest along the way. Also, I could see from previous videos on my channel that my regular viewers really do not like watching train journeys, so do not be alarmed, there will be a lot of ferries and some local buses. Another little aim of my trip is to visit all 3 large Mediterranean islands, Corsica, Sardinia and Sicily. And with that green light, welcome to Carl's Travel Channel, where every journey costs less than £200. Please sit back, relax and enjoy the ride, and always remember, the nearest exit may be behind you. On board the London bus, heading down the Euston Road. The contactless fare is the usual very good value, £1.75, just tapping in as you get on. Arriving at the stunning Gothic entrance to the St Pancras Renaissance Hotel, which, who would have thought, sits just in front of the St Pancras International Station. Maybe of interest to my international viewers, an old-fashioned red British telephone box. You don't see many of these anymore. If you are looking for a photo opportunity, there's one here. Hi everyone, and welcome to my first big travel adventure for 2025. Here we are at London St Pancras Station, and I've survived the broken down bus. I'm travelling all the way from London to Sicily, overland. It's going to be a real adventure and experience, so I invite you to come with me along the way, and we'll see what adventures and problems will happen. To make things extra unique, I've set myself a little extra challenge for the trip. I'm only going to be staying on board ships wherever possible, in their cabins, maybe with a hotel night added there and here and there, just to get that experience, travel experience of a new particular city or island that I wish to visit, giving a clue there. So anyhow, it's time to go and get checked in at ouch, this really early time of day, when we'll be making the 6 AM Eurostar, an overlander's favourite in Europe, as it's one of the only services that connects with all the onward trains from Paris, as we will be seeing en route. Now, let's get inside the station. But, oh no, my usual entrance here is closed, blocked, presumably as it's too early in the morning. I hope there's a way in somewhere. Let's head around the corner past King's Cross Station to see what we can find. Slightly confusing to tourists, King's Cross and St Pancras stations sit right next door to each other, on my right and left here. They even share the same underground tube station. If you are arriving this way later in the day, be sure to find the right exit. But for the 6 AM Eurostar, this is the only entrance open, with a plaque on the wall just there commemorating the opening of the high-speed line and regeneration of this beautiful station. The roof is really quite stunning above. Now let's get checked in. Whenever they open security, I'll see you on the other side. I've made it through, and almost losing my phone along the way, leaving it in one of the security trays by mistake. Phew, luckily a good-willed person found it. However, on going through the boarding gate, I was stopped by a member of staff who said the type of train had been changed and all seat reservations were different. Now in the coffee shop, gosh, I'm not sure what's happened to my hair in security. It's all over the place. I relax in the station pantry, one of only 2 venues available after security at St Pancras. The coffee was okay, however, and not hugely expensive, at £3.90 per cup. But the extremely overcrowded holding area is awful for such a new station, and really not ideal and thought out poorly. I'm glad to get out of there fast, and now head towards my train. Now let's see if I can find my carriage along the platform. Before boarding, however, I had another fiasco with my ticket, which I'll explain to you once we are on board. These trains are certainly very long. I do not know St Pancras Station hugely well, but another observation here is the low and dingy ceiling. I always recall the Eurostar being under the nice glass roof, but clearly not. If you know anything more about this, or if it's a recent change, please let me know in the comments below. Passing the buffet car, or home to the, as branded now, Eurostar Café. Looks to be some nice mood lighting in there. I board nice and early, so you are able to have a look around the carriage before the other passengers arrive. First impressions are that it is very clean and fresh feeling inside. The tables are of a decent size, however, gosh, look at this legroom. It feels okay now, but it will barely fit 2 people in here facing each other. The seats are very hard and not padded well. Sadly, there is nothing to film on leaving the station since it's pitch black outside, but anyhow, here we go. Here on the table is my third boarding pass for today's Eurostar fiasco. So it turned out, after I studied some of the seat maps on my phone whilst waiting in the cramped holding area, that my new seat, despite being told and assured by a member of staff that was a window, was actually not at all, and was an aisle. I therefore went to the customer services desk, where they promptly told me the train was full, and that I could not do anything about it. I then asked to be rebooked onto the 7 AM train, as I thought it would still allow enough time for me to connect in Paris. As soon as I asked this, a window seat was provided for my original 6 AM departure. So you could see why, for my first experience on Eurostar, I am not too happy, and of the countless airline flights I've been on over the last few years, I've never once had my seat changed at the last minute, though I know it can happen. Next thing I do, which is very important, is using my phone, I purchased some Navigo tickets for the Paris Metro to avoid the hassle I had when last visiting Paris running around at the station. If you already have a physical Navigo pass like I do, you can simply use the Ile-de-France app to reload new tickets onto your card and scan your card onto the back of the phone to load it. It's really quite clever. However, for those who get a new card in Paris, I will also show you how to load the card when I get there using the machines. A single journey is only €2.50. You cannot use contactless bank cards on the Metro. On the table here is my blue Navigo pass, and the app used to top it up. Creeping into the camera here, you will also notice a Tesco chicken club sandwich pack. Well, this channel is about travelling on a budget, so you won't be seeing me in the buffet car. Instead, I went to Tesco the night before and bought a £4 meal deal and took it on board with me, because remember, one of the benefits of travelling with Eurostar is you're allowed, at least at present, to take liquids through security, something not possible when flying. Earlier on, before boarding the train, I said that this 6 AM Eurostar is the overlander's favourite. So to explain what that means, as recommended by various European train websites and groups, such as the man in seat 61, this service gives the maximum number of onward connections available from Paris across mainland Europe, and also the most amount of time, of course, should you get delayed en route. In terms of today's journey, as shown here, I arrive into Paris at 9:19 AM, which gives me an almost clear 2 hours to transfer between the stations and keep at a leisurely pace by having a coffee and a walk on the way. It would seem a sacrilege passing through Paris and not having any time to take in any of the Parisian atmosphere. A beautiful reddish sunrise now appears over the French landscape, with the windmills in the background. There is another huge benefit to Eurostar's fares. I believe every ticket purchased on them, even the flash sale fares I am travelling with myself today, are flexible and can be changed for free, only paying the upgrade in fare price for whichever train you are moving to. This really is a big selling point, and despite not being a huge Eurostar fan, it does persuade me to use them more. Also, be sure for this reason to book your Eurostar tickets using their app, since this is where you will be making the free changes should you need to do so. I can only imagine how difficult this may be using third-party vendors given reports online. Why, however, then are you asking why I'm not a huge Eurostar fan? Well, besides the issues with the cramped seats as highlighted on this train, it's primarily down to one reason: the insanely steep price of the tickets. They are miles more expensive than the cost of airlines on the same dates, even booked only a few weeks before travel. Selecting a random date, not during school holidays, about a month from now, for example the 5th of May, you can see the cheapest flights are £25, £32 and upwards, travelling to Paris Orly Airport, which is quite easy to get to really, on the new metro line. However here, the Eurostar, on exactly the same day, most trains are £200, with only one of them being £63, still double the fare of the flight. And please remember, all fares, prices and routes shown in my videos are for illustrative purposes only, and may change at any time in the future. There is nothing better than that travel buzz vibe of seeing continents and countries pass by overland. Here, building up some excitement, my first glimpse of Paris in the far distance. we make it to the outskirts or suburbs of the city, and in this area there is row upon row of large residential tower blocks. One of the local RER trains, I think, passes us by, a double-decker, and we'll be travelling on one of these in Paris shortly. For rail enthusiasts, there are many railway yards and depots along here. Here is one of the SNCF, and Eurostar is a little further up, a good place for spotting various different types of rolling stock. And the Paris suburban station of St Denis. A fellow Eurostar passes us by. Maybe it's one of the newer E320 trains. I'll have to try one of those out one day. Now you know I like a good on-board announcement, so here is one for you to listen to.
Ne rien laisser à votre place avant de descendre. Vous trouverez la sortie à l'avant de ce train. Si vous souhaitez prendre le métro ou le RER, vous trouverez les panneaux de direction sur votre gauche. Pour les besoins de taxi, ce sera une petite rue sur votre droite en sortant de la gare. Au nom de l'ensemble de l'équipage, je vous souhaite une excellente journée ainsi qu'une très bonne semaine et à bientôt sur Eurostar. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paris. Our last stop, the local time is 9:18. Please take a moment to check that you have all your personal items with you. You will find the exit in front of the train. Taxis are on the right hand side of the station. The metro on the area on the left. On behalf of us all, I wish you a very pleasant day and a nice week, and hope to see you again soon on Eurostar. Please mind the step as you get off. In order to open the doors, don't hesitate to press firmly on the black button. Thank you, and see you.
Well, there you have it, en français and in English. And some more local trains here, for those interested. And this cutting, entering the city, given the obscene amount of graffiti, looks more like a lost urban explorer's paradise, rather than a working environment. You would have thought it would have been cleaned up, being the entrance to one of Europe's biggest cities. And I have almost arrived at the Paris Gare du Nord, and being back here reminds me of when I travelled from Paris to London on Flixbus, and if you'd like to see the video of that, you can find it in my channel pages. It was certainly an interesting adventure. I have noticed in terms of accessibility, escalators down onto platforms seem to be more commonplace in Europe than they are back in the UK. However, they do also have these at St Pancras, making the Eurostar accessibility friendly both ends. There are also lifts or elevators here up to the various bridges. And so we've arrived at the Paris Gare du Nord. A first look of the power car of my ancient Eurostar Class 373, or E300 as someone's decided to now call them. Before rushing off to leave the Gare du Nord, let's have a quick look at the departure boards here to show you some of the other train services on offer and a glimpse of the various trains in their platforms. One of the super-fast TGV Inoui services. A nice view down over the busy station concourse. It's time to head down into the metro station, as from what I've read online, it's best not to stay around the Gare du Nord too long, since it is mentioned in various sources as one of the highest crime areas of central Paris. The area around the Gare de Lyon is nicer, and also that way you're in place already for your train. I head down on these stairs to find the RER. Down in the station, it was time to top up my Navigo pass, which is the only way to buy tickets here. I select 4 fare, then 2 journeys, which is €5, add to basket, then check out, and do you want a receipt? No, and we're good to go. Just time to get my card out and pay. And remember to tap your Navigo back on the reader to reactivate it. Now let's head down into the station, through the ticket barriers, and we're looking for line D, Sud, or South. Here we are at the correct platform, so you can see how it looks if you make the journey yourself. There is also a number 44 up here. I assume this is the platform number. I make it on board, and I was not expecting this, a double-decker train, underground. So, here we go.
Next stop, Proxima Parada, Place de Real.
It's only around a 10-minute ride to the Gare de Lyon. Stopping here at one of the intermediary stations, Châtelet La Halle, but don't alight here. And rather surprisingly, I just noticed down here, these underground trains even have power outlets. I make it to the Gare de Lyon. It doesn't take long at all. So let's go and find the exit. I look at the departure boards here, so you can see the onward connections that you can make to various different destinations. Trains from here go all around Europe. This beautiful station with its grand facade opened originally in 1849, although I think the tower and station here was a newer version from 1855. A large shopping centre is also housed in here, and a Mercure hotel. The clock tower certainly reminds me a little of St Pancras, where we started the journey earlier today. I'm not sure who this fella is. I tried to have a chat, but he wasn't very talkative. Let's now go and see if we can find a Parisian Café. And directly opposite the station is a traditional colour and style cafe that certainly fits the bill, the Terminus Café Lyon. However, it is certainly not cheap, at €5.80 for a cafe latte. I know I do not normally do such extravagant things, but oh well, I wanted to enjoy a traditional Parisian cafe here on the hour I had in Paris. So, cheers! This really looks like somewhere from a holiday brochure. Back at the station, it was time to search out and find my train. All of the departure gates here have these cool e-barriers, where you can scan your QR code of your ticket using your phone. Here is Ouigo, the more affordable, low-cost offering to Marseille, but today I'm on TGV Inoui. I'll talk more about the differences on the train later on. It's time to board, and it's another double-decker. They certainly look cool inside, and my seat is on the upper deck, so let's go upstairs and see if we can find it. Lots of luggage storage down here. So, here we go. Not long after this, I was then so tired from having almost no sleep last night with the early start, I fell asleep for a couple of hours and woke up in the south of France. So, you can see me there now, with my eyelids sadly looking heavy and tired. I must say, however, compared to the Eurostar, the TGV Inoui was like a breeze. It was so comfortable and it really helped me get to sleep. There was no way on earth I could have slept on the Eurostar before. Admittedly, the TGV Inoui, especially in first class, does not really fit the budget ethos of this channel, so I should therefore mention there is a cheaper alternative available, TGV Ouigo, which I had really wanted to use for this video instead. However, I messed around with booking the trip at too short a notice and could not find a suitable cheap service that would get me to Toulon in time for my ferry. TGV Ouigo offers fares at around 50% less than the standard TGV I'm on today, though I would imagine the seats are more in the spirit of the awful cramped Eurostar I was on earlier. Oh well, it leaves me an extra video theme for another trip in the future. Since railways in the UK are currently privatised, we do not have an equivalent as such of TGV Inoui, but it would be the old intercity service for anyone who remembers that far back. They are long distance, standard service trains with a buffet car of course on board and toilets at the end of every carriage. They travel much faster than our trains however, at speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. In terms of booking both the TGV Inoui and low-cost TGV WeGo, I would recommend to simply use the SNCF app on your phone. It is very good, and for English speakers like me, it has excellent English functionality. The app has so many features, I've even changed and cancelled tickets on it with ease. Many different types of fares permit this, but not all. I do not think third-party apps are necessary for booking trains in France. The other cool feature is the app displays information about your train, like which facilities are located in the different carriages, toilets, buffet, etc., and also up-to-date running information on times concerning delays. As I slept on this train and it was quite busy, I will give you a better look around the carriage of a TGV Inoui on the next train from Marseille to Toulon in a moment. A few other notes on Marseille, which will be the subject of a future video for me. However, you can also catch a ferry from Marseille to where I am going later on. However, the station is not in easy distance of the ferry terminal, and Toulon is much better. Quite simply, with these timings today and the timings of the ferries, I would not have made sailing from Marseille in time to connect with the journey from London this morning. At least in the winter schedule, Toulon is a much better bet, and certainly a lot prettier. I make it to my second and final en route stopover for today at Marseille St Charles station, and to be honest, it's just as well I'm not leaving the station. The local nearby area is very dicey and I wouldn't recommend wandering around there. There is a TGV Inoui lounge here even, as you can see from the details on the window. I was not entirely sure whether a first class TGV ticket qualified for access to the lounge, and decided in the end not to ask. If you know, please let me know in the comments below. I explore the station instead and see what there is here. Most surprisingly, there are even a few international trains from Marseille, including this one to Brussels Midi. I have no idea why there is a Christmas tree still here in late January, but oh well, it made me laugh anyway. Anyhow, it's soon time to board again on the 3:49 PM TGV Inoui from Marseille St Charles to Toulon, arriving at 4:36 PM. Here is my UK power adapter plugged into the seat back, and it's the last time I would ever get to see it, because with tiredness now setting in, I left it right here on this train. This would cause a major issue in my next video, and as such now we should observe a minute's silence in loving memory of the lost UK power adapter left here as you see it in the back of this seat. Okay, I can't quite make 1 minute, but you had 27 seconds, and it gives you an idea of how serious the situation was later on. The stretch of line from Marseille to Toulon is quieter than down from Paris, so you can now get a better look around the carriage. Legroom is generous, there are footrests, and the seats have this interesting old 1990s style fabric, which reminds me of old-fashioned airline business class seats. It definitely does not look as modern as the Eurostar inside, however, it's much more comfortable. Now going to do something that every other YouTuber seems obsessed by, yet until now I've resisted myself. Yes, you know what it is. It's a loo review, and it's a good one. Very clean, tidy, nice wash basin, and working facilities. And there's me in the mirror. There's a soap dispenser here, hand dryer, taps, and something to hold on to. And even a lock on the door. We passed through Seine 64 station. I am not even going to pretend I know how to pronounce that, but apparently it serves the town here of Seine-sur-Mer. I am sure it's pretty, but there is certainly a lot of graffiti along the side of the railway tracks. As dusk begins to fall, it's been a very long day today for me, and a real travel adventure overland. I am certainly very much looking forward to my bed tonight, on board one of my favourite modes of transport. The south coast of France here is pretty and beautiful, though it does look a little dry and dusty in this evening light. You had an announcement on the Eurostar, so now it's time for one on board the TGV.
Mesdames et messieurs, il est 16h32 et dans quelques minutes, notre TGV Inoui arrivera en gare de Toulon, son terminus. Avant de descendre, assurez-vous d'avoir toutes vos affaires personnelles avec vous. Changement pour les arcs draguignans, départ prévu à 16h46 par train TER à la voie D. Changement pour la direction de hier, départ également par train TER à 17h03, la voie n'est pas encore indiquée. Avant de descendre, veillez une dernière fois à ne rien oublier à bord du train. Je vous rappelle qu'avec TGV Inoui, vous avez choisi le mode de transport le plus écologique pour votre voyage. Prochain arrêt, la gare de Toulon, terminus. Au nom de l'équipage de ce TGV Inoui, je vous souhaite une très bonne fin de journée.
I guess that I should also point out that you can make this trip using an Interrail pass. The Interrail Global Pass is valid on the Eurostar and on the TGV, and there are standard and first class versions available. However, you do have to pay a reservation fee, I think, for both trains. I did not purchase an Interrail pass for this trip, since the onward trains after today are very few and far between, and they tend to be very cheap journeys, which I booked in advance to get a much lower fare than it would be by using Interrail. I think my personal recommendation is that Interrail really is only useful if you don't plan on booking stuff very far in advance and you're just going to turn up and travel freestyle across Europe, which, given some intercity trains have reservation fees for it, I don't really understand the point of it at all, to be honest. And the Interrail pass certainly does not come cheap, costing hundreds of euros. It feels to me more like a clever marketing idea. A few final notes then on my experience of travelling by train across France today. I cannot really make a comparison between the TGV and the Eurostar, since both were in different classes of service. However, the journey felt safe at all times and was very comfortable, especially on the TGV. And that's us pulled in and docked at Toulon station. A final view of this grand double-decker with its Le Bar up there on the top. We enter the Gare du Toulon. There's even a Paul bakery in here, just like back home. It's only around a 7 or 8 minutes walk from the station to La Porte, which, you would never believe it, is French for port. And the route, or route if you're American, is very well signposted. Down here to the beautiful marina and harbour, and sitting over in the distance is my home for tonight. There's a myriad of cafes, bars and restaurants here along the marina. However, sadly, due to the timings today, I didn't get a chance to check any of them out. I do, however, really wish now that I had checked my bag for that charger, as it's going to come back to bite me in the next video. Just as the sun is setting here in Toulon, I'm about to embark on the next stage of my huge overland journey on a ferry to an exotic island. But to find out where that is, you'll have to tune in to the next episode. So please like, subscribe, and you'll get the notifications for when it comes out. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.